He'd been engaged to my brother for 2 years, never paid a single bill in that house. And the day after I offered him a full year of free rent somewhere else, he threatened to sue me for money that was never his to begin with. 4 stories today about people who decided grief, inheritance, and other people's generosity were simply theirs for the taking. My brother passed away recently. He'd been with his partner for 6 years, engaged for the last 2 of those. Both of our parents are gone, and so is our sister, which makes me his only remaining next of kin. The house he lived in had belonged to our grandparents. He bought it from the estate back in 2021 after they passed. I grew up in that house. It's genuinely the only physical piece of my family I have left, now that I'm the last one standing. Since I inherited it as next of kin, I offered his partner a fair deal. Stay in the house as long as he wanted, as long as he covered the mortgage and property taxes going forward, essentially treating it like rent. He told me he couldn't afford that and asked me to sell the house instead. Then wanted details on exactly how much profit he'd personally be inheriting from the sale. I told him plainly, I inherited that house, not him. I wasn't selling it, and he wasn't entitled to a cut of anything. He escalated immediately, threatening to take me to court over inheritance rights. I tried appealing to him directly. This was my family's home. He was genuinely the closest living connection I still had to my brother, and I asked him not to do this. He refused to back down. So I offered something else entirely. Since I'm also named as the beneficiary on my brother's life insurance policy, I offered to personally cover a full year of rent for him at a new apartment, out of my own pocket, no strings attached. Instead of accepting, he demanded everything, the house and the life insurance both, even after I'd already explained clearly that I was the named beneficiary, not him. I told him he wasn't getting either, and that he needed to move out of my family's house. He refused again, threatened court a second time, and at that point, I filed for eviction. For context on the relationship itself, my brother and I had actually talked just months before he died about how he doubted the engagement would ever turn into an actual wedding. He'd also named me as his life insurance beneficiary a full year into the engagement, not before it, a decision he made with clear eyes. My state doesn't recognize common law marriage, and in 6 years together, his partner never once contributed toward the mortgage, utilities, or taxes on that house. My brother paid for everything, the entire time. Grief brought out one man's worst instincts around money. This next story is about a birthday gift that turned into an unplanned $500 loss through absolutely no fault of the person who bought it. I'm 38, and my nephew just turned 16. Months before his birthday, I asked my brother, his dad, if I could get him concert tickets as a gift. He said yes. My nephew's mother only sees him about once a month, sometimes less, and since she doesn't have custody, I didn't think to run it by her at all. I bought excellent seats for a band he genuinely loves, since it was going to be his very first concert. $500 worth, back during spring break, for a concert happening in July. About a month ago, my mom mentioned, almost in passing, that my nephew would be away on a 2-week vacation with his mother during exactly the week of the concert, and that my brother had already approved the trip. To be clear, I think it's genuinely good that he gets that time with his mom, especially since it barely ever happens. My frustration isn't with the trip itself. It's that my brother approved me spending $500 on tickets for a specific date and then approved a conflicting trip on those same dates without giving it a second thought. The tickets are non-refundable and non-transferable through the platform I bought them on. I didn't get the resale insurance because I genuinely didn't think I'd need it. So now I'm out $500 sitting on tickets to a concert I have zero interest in attending myself for a band I don't even listen to. And because that money's already gone, I genuinely can't afford to get him anything else for his actual birthday today. I'll be handing him a little cash instead of the concert he was excited about. And I know that's gonna sting for him. I don't want to make him feel guilty about the vacation, but I also don't want him thinking I simply didn't bother getting him anything this year, when the truth is his own dad approved 2 conflicting plans and left me holding the cost of one of them. Money problems are one kind of entitlement. This next story is about a couple who thought they'd finally ended a miserable family tradition together, until one of them quietly undecided it alone. For years, my wife, our 2 kids, and I spent a full week every summer at the same beach town with part of her family. Her brother, his wife, their kids, and her mom. It started because another sibling's family used to live nearby, giving all the cousins a real reason to gather. But once they moved away, it became just us and the most routine-driven side of her family. And the whole trip slowly calcified into something rigid. Same beach, same street, same restaurants on the same days, strict quiet hours, zero flexibility. My side of the family likes structure too, but on vacation, we want some variety and room to breathe. The last couple of years were genuinely miserable. Smaller rental houses, bigger kids, an even stricter routine. Our kids bored out of their minds, and me quietly sneaking them out to do something, anything different, which caused its own friction because I was breaking the plan. My wife admitted afterward in a real conversation that she hadn't enjoyed it either. We agreed together, as a couple, we were done repeating that exact trip. Next time, somewhere new. Mountains, a lake, a different beach, genuinely anything else. A few weeks ago, she handed me her phone to ask which vacation rental looked nicer. Same beach, same street, the identical trip, all over again. I was furious. I thought we'd already settled this together. Her explanation was that her mom had said the location meant something sentimental to her, wanted all the grandkids there together one more time, and her brother's family had agreed on the spot. My wife told me it was this or nothing, so she'd already committed both herself and our kids to the full week, assuming I'd simply come around and agree eventually, the way I always had before. What actually bothers me isn't the location. It's that her mother and brother made the decision, my wife accepted it on the spot, and I found out only after everything was already locked in. I told her exactly that I felt betrayed and cut out of a decision we'd made together as partners. She kept circling back to the same line, "This is important to me, why won't you just do this for me?" We argued about it for a solid week straight. I offered a compromise. Since it clearly mattered so much to her, I joined for the last 2 nights of the week while she and the kids went the full time. Now she's telling me I've ruined it simply by not wanting to be there for the whole thing. And she started airing the conflict in front of the kids, who now know something's wrong between us. I'm not trying to keep the kids from their grandmother. I'm not even saying no to them going. I'm saying no to spending my own vacation time repeating a trip we both already agreed together was bad for our family. Last one. This is about a birthday dinner, a mix-up at 2 different restaurants, and a mother who genuinely couldn't understand why anyone was upset with her. My mom invited me, I'm 25, to a Thai restaurant to celebrate my aunt's 73rd birthday, on her actual birthday. About 8 other family members showed up too. The one person missing entirely was my aunt, the actual birthday girl. We called her and found out she was sitting alone at a completely different Thai restaurant across town. She came rushing over the moment she realized everyone was somewhere else, and when she walked in, she looked genuinely disappointed and a little sad, which honestly made me feel awful on her behalf. Later that day at my son's t-ball game, I mentioned to my husband, half joking, that with 2 restaurants having such similar names, someone was bound to end up in the wrong place. That's when my mom, standing nearby, casually let it slip. She and my aunt had actually discussed where to go beforehand, and my aunt specifically wanted the other restaurant since it was her favorite. My mom didn't like it because the ownership had changed recently and she wasn't sure the food was still good. So she'd simply told everyone to meet at the place she preferred instead. I was floored. I told her plainly that if my aunt wanted that restaurant and was already sitting there waiting for everyone to arrive, then it was entirely on my mom for redirecting the whole group somewhere else just because of her own preference. I reminded her how disappointed my aunt had looked walking in. My mom's response was that if she's the one paying for the meal, she gets to enjoy it. She wasn't giving her money to a restaurant she didn't like, and since she'd invited me and my cousin, that meant she got to choose. She even added that I didn't really have the right to say anything since she was the one paying for my dinner. Here's the detail that undercuts her entire argument. She didn't even pay for my aunt's meal, despite it being her birthday and despite being the one who organized the whole dinner in the first place. So her reasoning that paying gave her the right to choose didn't actually apply to the one person the day was supposed to be about. She kept defending herself the entire time, genuinely convinced she'd done nothing wrong, until I finally told her I didn't want to keep discussing it because it was only making me more frustrated. My husband, who heard the whole exchange, agreed completely that the birthday person should have gotten the final say, especially since my mom already knew exactly which restaurant my aunt wanted before any of this happened. What bothers me most isn't even this one dinner. It's that this is a clear pattern with her. She puts her own preferences first, again and again, and then acts genuinely baffled that anyone would be upset about it afterward. 4 stories, 1 theme. People who treated someone else's grief, gifts, agreements, or birthday as something they were entitled to control. Which one frustrated you the most? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. Subscribe for a new story every day. See you tomorrow.